In this video, I'm going to show you the exact routine that got me a 3.92 GPA while studying at the University of Hong Kong, which is one of the top ranking universities in the world. Now, I'm not saying this to flex, but this is all the stuff basically that I've learned last semester. And contrary to most productivity advice, I think that this is a lot more implementable than some of the stuff that they teach you online. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. So most people don't understand that distractibility is actually a very important factor when you're considering when you want to work. So the thing is that we actually have different hours during the day where we're more productive or less productive. Most people don't know this, and they try to schedule work blocks at literally every single part of their Google Calendar. I used to do that, and it was actually very, very inefficient because I did not realize that there were certain times where my distractibility was higher. So let me explain. When you first wake up from your sleep, your distractibility is probably going to be pretty high. You've just woken up from your sleep, you're probably a little bit more tired, you're a bit groggy, maybe you're still thinking about that dream that you had earlier, for example. So your distractibility is actually going to be quite high. If you start working from here, then you will probably lose focus. So that's why what I do is from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., I do a morning routine to basically lower my distractibility. Then from 8 a.m. to around 12:30 p.m., this is my main work block. I'm trying to make my distractibility levels like around this time. Now, the problem with most people is that in the morning, once they get up, they will immediately start scrolling, which will cause their distractibility level to go way, way, way up. And when it is all the way up here, it actually stays here for a while until it actually starts to subside. But you've probably experienced this before, right? You wake up, you immediately start scrolling or checking your phone, and you kind of realize that your brain already has some sort of brain fog. You've already lowered your cognitive and mental performance because you've actually increased your distractibility. Now, okay, after you eat lunch, your distractibility levels actually spike. Now, the reason is because if you eat, your body has to allocate resources and nutrients to digestion instead of thinking. So that's why after you've eaten a meal, especially if it's like high carbs, you will probably feel a little bit more sluggish. Have you ever tried studying like after eating lunch? It's basically impossible for me to study with pure deep focus. But when I'm actually a little bit more hungry, like for example, like around, let's say like 5 p.m., because I eat dinner at like around 7, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., my distractibility levels are actually pretty low. Like I can like actually focus really, really hard. And the reason is because I'm actually a little bit hungry during this time. I will not eat anything from like 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And so now that I'm actually a little bit hungry now, I'm actually able to focus so much more. So, okay, the whole idea of this diagram is to help you understand that if you want to be more productive, you need to optimize your working hours at the hours where distractibility is the most low for you. Now, this is my distractibility levels throughout the day. For you, it could be completely different. So I don't know what your distractibility levels are, but you need to find that out for yourself. By the way, if you like this video and you find this information to be valuable, then link down below is my private online community where we help students just like you make an academic comeback and get better grades. We have courses on studying, time management, exams, as well as other projects that I've been working on. If that sounds interesting to you, then make sure to check out the link in the description below. So, okay, you've probably heard of a morning routine before. Everyone on YouTube talks about it, but not that many people actually talk about a night routine. This is actually arguably more important than the morning routine because a night routine helps you to get into the mood of sleeping. And you know what happens when you get good sleep, right? Like your brain is able to remember more of what you studied throughout the day, and it's able to recharge its cognitive load capacity so that tomorrow you can wake up with like less distractibility. Most people, if they have really trash sleep, wake up and the distractibility levels is already through the roof. It's very hard for you to focus when you lack sleep. This is scientifically proven over and over and over again. So for my own morning routine, what I do is I wake up, I drink some water, I pray, then I go shower, then I come back and I dry my hair and I start working. I go down to the library and start working. That's my morning routine. And that actually helps me to get into the groove of things. Because what a morning routine does is that it actually does this thing called habit stacking. If you read the book Atomic Habits, then the book basically explains how after you do one habit, you can stack it with another habit, because that after doing that first habit, you can get the cue for the second habit and attach it to the first habit more easily than if you just simply use your willpower to do the second habit by itself. So next, for my deep work session, I usually go to like a very quiet environment. This is very, very important, because if you're in a very noisy environment, your distractibility, again, is going to be pretty high. If you're in a place where everyone's talking and socializing with each other, like for example, your cafeteria and you're trying to study there, not good. If you're in your bed trying to study, I know some students actually do this, which is like absolutely absurd to me. Again, your distractibility levels are going to be insanely high, because that is a place, it's behind the camera, by the way. That is the place where you actually sleep. That's where you sleep. So you're going to be thinking about sleeping instead of studying and being able to focus. So a little hack that actually a lot of students don't know about is that you could actually extend this period of low distractibility by not eating breakfast. You not eat breakfast in the morning, you actually become more focused. For me at least, because I've actually trained my brain to do this for basically 2 years. But I can tell you, actually after starting intermittent fasting, I've been much more productive. So I highly recommend this trick to all students, really. And if you think that you're really hungry in the morning, you can eat like fruits. That's completely fine. I sometimes eat fruits in the morning, but for me, what I tend to avoid in the morning is like cereal, oatmeal, and bread. I think that those things will crash your energy levels and make your distractibility levels much higher. So, okay, back to the night routine. The night routine is actually very important as well, because it helps you sleep better, right? So my personal night routine is usually I would read a book. I think reading your book is really helpful because you actually learn something. And secondly, to me at least, it's pretty relaxing. Being able to read, synthesize information, and just be with your thoughts is overall, I think, pretty nice. But if there's one thing that I don't do during this time, is that I will try my best not to check my phone. Like, I know that sometimes people will WhatsApp me at this time, but honestly, I would just leave it until the next morning. And actually, I won't even check the message until like 12:30 p.m. Like, some people may call me like a jerk for this, but I batch my messages, so I don't actually read the message from here to here. I only check my phone and read my WhatsApp messages at this time, and as well as like 7 p.m. when it's like dinner time or something like that. And you could also do that as well. And I highly recommend this to you if you actually want to be much more productive. Yes, people will reach out to you less, but who cares, right? Like, this is your productivity at stake. These 6 hours of your work, like your day, will literally determine your future. So right now it's like 11:33 a.m. I'm recording this video at this time window, because if I record it at like my energy crash level, I'm not gonna be able to speak as fluently, and I cannot have all these ideas coming into my brain as well as I did if I was like recording at this time, which I'm doing right now. So usually after reading, I sometimes will go and like do some night stretching. If my body feels a little bit sore, then I will probably do some night stretching. And apart from night stretching, of course, I also do my evening prayer as well. The whole goal of this night routine really is to actually just lower your resting heart rate so that you can get better sleep. So according to Brian Johnson, your resting heart rate is one of the most important indicators for your sleep quality. So if you want to get better sleep, everything you do from like 9 p.m. to when you sleep should be about like lowering your resting heart rate. And I personally find reading, stretching, and praying the best ways to do that. So for some of you college students out there, you probably know that your sleep is not that good, right? Like, I know some of the people in my dorm who sleep at 3 a.m. and wake up at 12 p.m. like in the afternoon. And actually that is very bad, because after you've understood this diagram, you understand that you're more productive in the morning. So if you basically wake up at 12 p.m., you basically already sacrificed the entire morning, and now it's the afternoon. Now, of course, okay, your body cycles and your circadian rhythm might be shifted down so that the entire diagram will be shifted like this. But generally, that's not the case, because your body subconsciously aligns itself with the circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm is basically like the day and night cycle of the sun. When the sun is like in the morning, right? When it like rises, that's when you're the most productive. I mean, we are literally like micro-evolved to be this way. Like, we're literally adapted to be like this. In the morning, you would go out, you would go hunt, you would forage, you would do all these things. And at night, that's when you rest. And during the afternoon as well, that's probably where you rest as well. Because in the morning, that's where you get your stuff done. That's where you hunt and do all these things. But in the afternoon, you can think about it, right? You probably already hunted, you probably gathered some stuff ready. Now it's time to eat. And now it's time to relax. So I think from an evolutionary standpoint, this also makes sense. All right, so I don't want this video to be too long. So that's basically all for today. I hope you found this video very valuable, and I hope that you can implement this into your own life. Basically prioritizing your deep work hours in the morning and literally scheduling everything around that. If you're trying to have fun, you can schedule that later during the day when you're more tired. But if you want to actually get your shit done, then you must prioritize these 5 or 6 hours in the morning. But as always, may God guide us in the right path, and I'll see you in the next video.